Hi, everybody. This is Darcy Piedmont with Above the Tree Line, and you are here for Leveraging Edelweiss for Sales and Marketing. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm going to look and see that you guys can see my screen okay. Um, and make sure that we have everything set up as needed. Yeah. Okay. So we're ready to begin. It's about 2 o'clock. So I'll go ahead and start. One thing I need you guys to know is that we're having a really big thunderstorm right here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So hopefully that will not interfere at all with our technology. We'll see. But again, welcome. As Ingram clients, you have some great opportunities with us, and we're here today to share some of these ideas and definitely to give you an overview. There are a lot of ways that we can kind of go into the weeds and get into some details, and we're happy to do that after and beyond. So don't feel like this one webinar is your only chance for some training. And let's see, my little clicker isn't working. Let's see, sorry everybody. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that. So I'm Darcy Piedmont, the Publisher Success Manager here at Above the Tree Line, and I'm in charge of a lot of the training. And Allison Langlois with me. She's our business development person.
Hi, happy to be here.
Allison will be the person who will sign you up if you take advantage of some of our services. So we're in Ann Arbor at a little company called Above the Tree Line. That's the name of the company. And our founder, John Rubin, named the company Above the Tree Line to have this idea of getting up above the trees, to be able to see the whole forest, to be able to see the big picture. And John founded the company in 2002. He is a son of an independent bookseller and a grandson of a librarian. So the book industry was incredibly important for him. And as a company, we're still really small, but we're mighty, and we're dedicated to helping everybody in the book industry to work better and read more. That's our motto, and we really do try to help everybody get to the level that they want to be at. By the way, I'm noticing that some people are typing in questions, and that's totally fine. We're probably going to take questions at the end. But Allison's also going to check and just make sure that we are, that everything's working as it should. Let me also, yeah, okay, perfect. So I think we're okay. Back to the slideshow. So we're above the tree line. And our platform or software is called Edelweiss. Edelweiss is a little flower that grows in really rough conditions up at the top of mountains. But Edelweiss, the platform, is a one-stop for all different kinds of users. And we want you to know is that the platform serves a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. And also, a lot of those people have varying degrees of technological ability. And so we try to serve everyone with a lot of training and with a lot of help along the way. We have a wonderful support team. Sometimes the platform can be intimidating at first, and this is definitely true for publishers. So we're definitely sympathetic to that and want to help you, help yourselves, and make the most of the platform. So if you're a person who's logging in today and hoping to dispel a little bit of the mystery, we're going to try to do that for you, and then also give you plenty of videos and documentation, and you can email us. We'll help you along the way. So just wanted to take an opportunity to say that. Edelweiss is used by all of the major publishers. In fact, 100% of all major US publishers are on Edelweiss. And 95% of all US front list titles are on Edelweiss. So 95%, that's a big number, and it's actually growing all the time. We're expanding internationally as well. We have a director of the European market who lives in Scotland, our own Ruth Bradstreet. She used to be here in Ann Arbor with us, and maybe some of you know her. So we have a presence in the UK and in France and Canada. We also have Christian marketing, Christian publishers, and academic publishers. It goes on and on. Retailers know that they can come to us and find the most complete information on titles that they want to check out, including key selling points and marketing plans for titles. And speaking of booksellers, retailers, all the major independent booksellers are also on Edelweiss. For buying purposes, we have over 700, closer to 800 booksellers who log into Edelweiss to do their catalog, to look at catalogs, and to buy books. And we have over 460 stores that report to us each night for analytics. So that's another subscription service that bookstores can have where they can see their sales history. Some of you might know about that. We also, again, have Christian bookstores, UK bookstores, French bookstores. So we've got a big hold on the market, which is great because this is the place you can come to be in the book industry and be successful. We have over 135,000 book professionals. And what this means is, as you can see in the list, over 20,000 booksellers, 18,000 librarians. And pay attention to that librarian number because that's another area that's growing for us. More and more librarians, especially with some of our more recent tools, are looking to Edelweiss to find their front list titles. And also take a look at the media and agency professionals and reviewers. So a lot of people come to us to kind of find out what the buzz is on new books and new titles. So let's talk about Edelweiss for publishers. You are more than likely signed on today, and you have a relationship with Ingram. You're already a publisher. And so what you're wondering is how this affects you. And we're going to talk about two big concepts today. The first is how to just work with your titles and make them more visible within your Ingram accounts. And then the second big bucket is how to use additional services like an independent publisher listing or review copies or title promotions. If you want to dive into some of those waters and have your hand at some additional services. But your titles are already in Ingram's catalog, so you're already ahead of the game, and that's already a great step forward. Ingram has its own publisher listing, so this is what the Ingram publisher page looks like on Edelweiss now. You are in those Ingram catalogs. Ingram reps are going to create markups and communicate with book buyers and represent your titles, so you benefit from all of that exposure. Some people ask us, how do I find myself? I can't see myself on Edelweiss if they're a distributed clients. And the way to find your name as a small publisher is to look within an Ingram catalog and refine the results. You can hit that little arrow and look at all of the publishers that are within any given catalog. There's another way. You can just set a saved filter and apply it to lots of areas, including review copies in Edelweiss. So if you're curious about saved filters, we've got some great help documentation on that and would be happy to help you more. So even though sometimes people wonder about searching for themselves and they don't see themselves right away, you are in there within those Ingram catalogs. But let's say that you do want to do a little bit more. You want to find some ways to get even more out of Edelweiss. Let's say you have a great title that's coming up that you're really excited about. And you want to try to do something with that particular title. Let's say that you want to create your own publisher page and your own catalogs. There are options, and we're here to help you think through that. So already distributed publishers who want to promote their titles, already you can take advantage of promotional opportunities within your Ingram catalog. You can feature a title, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment, and also uh, do a newsletter banner. You can also kick it up a notch by adding some extra subscriptions. So the subscriptions that we'll talk about today are review copies and independent publisher listings. To promote within Edelweiss. So again, whether you stick with Ingram catalogs or you take out your own IPL, independent publisher listings we fondly refer to as IPLs. Either way, you can find this little promote bullhorn at the bottom bar of a title, and all you do is click that promote button. If you happen to be at your title and you don't see the promote button, it means that you don't have publicity admin privileges. So you can either talk to your IPS contact or ask your contact to maybe do a promotion for you. So you can communicate about that on your end. When you click the promote button, it gives you some options. You can take out a weekly featured title and get a featured spot in our weekly newsletter. I'll talk about that a little bit more and show you some images. Or you can take out a newsletter banner, and this is for our Tuesday newsletter, and I'll show you some images for that too. There's going to be a third way of promoting in newsletters, our monthly newsletters. So there will be an additional box there for just the monthly newsletters coming soon, trying to make this as user-friendly as possible. Our weekly newsletter, you're probably familiar with this. It goes out every Tuesday, and our newsletter goes out to over 75,000 users who subscribe to it. And a lot of people rely on that Tuesday newsletter to find the new titles that are coming out, the new catalogs that have been posted. So this is a pretty active community and a captive audience. The banner ad that you see on this image for Bink, that is one of those ads that I mentioned that you can take out. They're $1,000 to take out that particular ad, but it goes out to this wide net. So you can cast a wide net and reach a lot of people. The featured titles are at the top of the newsletter each Tuesday, and they have a big jacket cover and a little bit of a description, and also a click so you can go right into that title and check it out. And those featured titles that are at the top, as opposed to the review copies that are just in the list below, those get 11 times more clicks than the other review copies that happen to be listed in that Tuesday newsletter. One other thing that I didn't want to forget to mention is if you do take out a banner, you can embed a URL in that banner. You can also make it a dynamic animated banner. So there's a lot of possibility there. When you embed a URL, you can direct traffic right back to your Edelweiss publisher page, or you can direct it anywhere you want, including your own website. Featured titles. So as I mentioned, the featured titles are in that Tuesday newsletter, and then they also get to live at the top of the review copy module for that week that you purchase the featured title. And by the way, they're $300 to do a featured title, and that little module the modal where you can buy a featured title, it's really easy to pick the date that you want. So you can schedule it far in advance, or you can schedule it for the next week. It's pretty easy to use. And yes, it goes out in the Tuesday newsletter and also lives in the weekly featured titles for the week, so you get a little bit extra marketing there. Now, our monthly targeted newsletters, these go out just once a month and always on a Thursday. So the first Thursday will be librarians, and then rotate to booksellers, reviewers, publishers. So this is a more targeted audience. The top banner here runs for $750, and the middle banner that you see, the creative creature catcher, that is for $400. And the currently the way that we're booking those is you need to contact us. You can either write to sales at Above the Tree Line or to Allison at Above the Tree Line, and we'll get you hooked up. But there is, as I mentioned, this new box where it will be interactive right on the website, right in the user interface, as well as a new billing center that's being released as we speak, where you can pay for things really easily. In fact, you already can pay for the featured title right on the news or right within the billing center if you go that route, and the other newsletter, but the targeted newsletters, that's coming really soon. Okay, so the things that I talked about right now, these have been paid promotions, so extra money to get a little buzz, to get your title noticed. You can do these things regardless of whether or not you have an independent publisher listing. You can do it right within your Ingram catalog, or the next thing to talk about is this idea of having your very own page. So it's where you put out your identity, your character, who you are as a publisher. This is called the independent publisher listing. You all at Ingram are lucky because it only costs $1,000, which is actually a very reasonable price to have this listing. And the other great thing about it is Ingram handles all of the data. You do not have to worry about sending us your metadata. It's already there on Edelweiss. You just pop your ISBNs into catalogs. So this is a little bit more of an ambitious step, but you do have the flexibility and privileges of being an autonomous publisher when you take out an independent publisher listing. The main thing that people love to find out is that they can discover themselves on Edelweiss. So if you go to our menu and click publishers and you start to type in your name, for example, Ben Bella is a distributed client of Ingram, and you start to type Ben Bella pops right up. You can find them right within that little modal. Also in the publisher list. So it's alphabetized, and you will find yourself right up there with the bigger publishers. You're on the same playing fields. This is often the very favorite part of the IPL, or the independent publisher listing. Other benefits, other than being really easily searchable, is that you do have your own publisher page where you get to promote yourself and identify yourself and kind of put yourself out there for the public. You can direct traffic to your IPL from your own, if you have a separate publisher website, or any marketing efforts that you do. So you can direct in your newsletters or on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you do some marketing efforts, you can direct traffic back to your own publisher page. You can also add sales information, ordering information to let people know how to buy from you. You can allow a non-Ingram sales force to take advantage of the sales rep training and workflow, including adding contacts, sharing markups, so you can get your titles and catalogs out to people. It may be in a niche market or particular people you know would be potential buyers. You can also supplement your metadata for your title listings and do things like add an author link for an author's website, or maybe a little YouTube clip of a video of an interview. So you can supplement metadata and add more to your titles. Of course, as I've mentioned, the independent publisher listing also allows for all of that promotion, more control of your review copies, and more. This is an example of Ben Bella, so using them as a beautiful Ingram example, people who decided to take out this independent publisher listing. They have a lovely banner at the top of their publisher page. They have their Ben Bella logo on the left-hand side. And when you kind of look at their categories, they've posted 19 catalogs as of this training. They also have one live review copy right now. And then if you clicked into their information page, you would see that they've listed that buying information, the contact information, so how to get in touch with them and purchase their books. Their catalogs right now are, that's just the the tip of the iceberg there, the Ben Bella Spring 2020. So you can go into that catalog and you can check out their 21 titles and see how they've arranged things and kind of created their own presence. Now, of course, again, I want to make sure that it's super clear. Ingram reps are going to be using Ingram catalogs and creating markups and sharing with contacts through Ingram. But Ben Bella has this ability to do a little bit more. And now I'm going to pass it off to Allison, and she's going to talk about the review copy module in Edelweiss.
All right, so I'm going to do a brief overview of the review copy module. The review copy module is probably the most, I would say, the most popular and cost-effective way to generate interest in your titles, and definitely the most popular, I think, among distributed publishers. This module allows you to upload and post your titles for review to Edelweiss's 135,000 plus users. Oh, sorry, we're having some pointer problems. Let's see. All right, there we go. Depending on what your needs and what works best for operations, you have a couple of options with review copies. You can do digital only, print only, or both. There is a little bit of a discount involved if you decide to upload a title as both available for a digital version and then to request a print copy, and I'll come back to that in a minute. I wanted to touch on, we're having a growing academic community on Edelweiss, and we've noticed that some publishers are using the review copy module to post exam copies for professors to review with the possibility of adopting into their curriculum. So that's just an alternative way you can use the review copy module. At the bottom here is pricing, and it's discounted for Ingram clients. So it's $99 for an annual fee and then $40 to upload a title just as a digital review copy or a print review copy, and then $60 to upload a title as both. So that's the little discount I was referring to earlier. All right, once you have your titles up, there are unlimited downloads with no additional fees. You have the option to customize access settings to meet your needs. This really means when you upload a title, you can upload as available for immediate download, or you can have the title require approval. As you can see to the side here, that's an example of a request for a title. You can either approve, reject, whitelist, or block. The whitelist option, if you choose to whitelist a user, that means if they would receive immediate access to any title in the future without requiring your approval. So if you find it's a really reputable reviewer or a librarian that you just always want to be able to have access to your titles, it's nice to whitelist them, and that kind of helps your workflow. Another point is just that you choose when you sign up who manages your titles and requests within your organization. All right, let's see. There's lots of ways to customize your workflow with review copies. I think probably the one I recommend the most to publishers is setting up custom approval messages like the one listed here. These allow you to send a customized message with your response to help ensure your goals with your review copy. So if you're really hoping for an Indie Next nomination or a Library Reads nomination, it's a good place to ask them here. Or communicate kind of just what you're hoping to get out of the review, and that leads to not just having review copies get approved, but having them actually lead to the reviews you're hoping to get from them. All right, I'm just going to touch a little bit more on the difference between the digital and the print options. Digital review copies are probably the most popular just because they are so easy to use. They're definitely, or e-galleys, whatever you prefer to call them. And then, let's see. The upload process is very easy to use. We provide training on this module via an on-demand training page that you can see here, where you can access it anytime for reference. So it's nice if say it's even been a little while since you've used the review copy module, you can always access this page that kind of walks you through step by step how to upload a review copy and change your settings and things. And then just like Darcy mentioned before, we have excellent support team. If you have any questions of troubleshooting, you can always send us an email to support and we'll help you with your review copies. For the print review copies, we introduced print review copies after numerous requests from publishers who wanted to manage all of their review copies in one place as opposed to just managing digital here and then print in a different format. Print review copies always require approval as opposed to digital that you can have available for an immediate download. These will always need to be approved. It's also important to note that you have the ability to limit the visibility of your print review copies to a desired user type. So if you only wanted to offer print copies to librarians or you only wanted to offer print copies to booksellers, you could list that in your settings when you're setting up. And then in their tab in Edelweiss under review copies, they'll only be able to see those print options if they're registered as a bookseller or a librarian. There's a couple different fulfillment options for print review copies. And again, this is probably something I get the most questions about. So if you have any questions, you can always ask us. You can link directly with a print-on-demand provider like Lightning Source. So if you already have a Lightning Source account, we can link that directly with your print review copies when you approve requests. Let's see, or what we call the self-fulfillment warehouse option. This is just a flexible kind of a catch-all option for how you're handling review copies now. This could be shipping from your back office, your closet, your warehouse, wherever you keep a stockpile of titles. Within Edelweiss, users are able to sort, you can kind of see here, between digital and print review copies. I just thought it was important to note, we're noticing the types of users that are requesting print review copies have never requested a digital review copy before. So they're bringing in a different audience. If you're really hoping to hit kind of both sides, it's a good way to offer a digital version. And then also if they're really hoping for that hands-on copy, you can do the print review copies. We've been receiving really good feedback from sales reps about review copies, helping to generate more sales. Booksellers love the ability to read a title before they choose to hand sell it in their stores to customers. It's also a good way to build a relationship with a new bookseller by offering them a review copy of that title that may be of interest. So it's good relationship forming, and the sales reps, it's good to see that it's working that way as well as far as communicating to sales. Once you start receiving reviews on your title, they don't have to stay within Edelweiss, which is also, there's many ways once you have your reviews, we can dive in a little bit deeper if you have questions to feature your reviews or to link that featured review with your title and have it live with your title within Edelweiss. But there's also quite a few ways to have your reviews go outside of Edelweiss in one click. Reviewers can be sent with one click by the user to the publisher. So directly to you, you can receive the review right away. They can also be sent directly to other platforms like Library Reads or Indie Next for nominations, or to Goodreads and sharing on social media accounts. So these reviews don't just stay in Edelweiss, they have the ability to reach far and make an impact. All right, I'm going to pass back over to Darcy to talk a little bit more about communities.
Okay, great. Thanks, Allison. So one of the things Allison just left off with is this idea of reviews. And it's something that we've really been able to help publishers and reviewers with. Reviewers, the more that they review titles and kind of help the book industry, the more they get accepted to be reviewers, so they love it. And then publishers are able to use some of the quotes and definitely so the quotes in their own marketing material, adding it to the title metadata and things like that. And also this idea of submissions, as Allison was just talking about. So in just this past summer, we released a new module, which is our communities module. You'll find communities under your people page, and it's already a place where people, if they are members of American Bookseller Association, they can log in and be a verified member right away. And and be able with a click of a button share reviews with Indie Next. So that's been huge. Same with librarians who are part of a public library. They're able to join and submit to library reads. So if you are in an affiliated type of community, even like a regional community, you have to kind of prove that in order to join. Then there are communities that are just totally open and genre-based communities. If you haven't taken a look at it yet, go for it. It's a lot of fun and everyone's enjoying the community module. The really nice thing for publishers is that it gives, again, this idea of more visibility, more buzz, and we're going to build the community feature out and eventually in the near future have some opportunities for publishers to get in there and do some advertising and do some connecting with the people that they know like the type of books that they're publishing. So that should be pretty fun. So like the billing center that we're kind of building it out and releasing it to more people, that's coming really soon. So is communities. We're a small company that is very invested in creating new things based on what people really want and need. So, oh, every time we pass the clicker, it doesn't work. So now I just went backwards. Sorry about that. All right. So you have choices as Ingram distributed clients, and again, I'm assuming that's who most of you are. You have some choices about where to go next. If you want to just kind of dip your feet into the waters of marketing and publicity and leveraging your titles, you can start with some promotions. You could do one featured title for $300. You could try a newsletter banner, or you could do the review copy module. And actually, Allison and I always wonder, why wouldn't you do review copy modules, that extra little subscription? Because really you get the most bang for your buck with review copies. So we're giving you that little trade secret. If you do decide to do a featured title, it's really cool to do that to roll it out the same week that you have a new review copy being listed, because we all know those first couple weeks of sales often can make or break a title. So if you're going to do promotions with us, and we encourage you to give it a try, be a little bit strategic if you're already doing a review copy. Kind of parlay them into each other, and then do a lot of social media or some newsletter writing that same week, and try to get the most bang for your buck with that release. If you want to go a step further, I love the idea of the independent publisher listing. When Allison was talking, a lot of people typed in and asked, is it 1,000 for the year? Yes, it is. And whatever start date you begin, so let's say September 15th is your start date, it's $1,000 until next year, September 15th. And that independent publisher listing, this idea of being searchable is a really big deal. And there's a lot of free marketing and publicity potential after you pay the $1,000, of course. But you can really use that publisher page, that listing, to get, again, just your visibility, your identity out into the markets. And as we've mentioned, you can supplement the title metadata. You get to manage all of the promotions on your own. The digital review copy would be on your page, on your publisher listing page, where you can control who gets to download, and you get to read the reviews as they come in. And don't think that means that it won't be visible on the Ingram catalog. Wherever you add data to a title, so let's say an author link, or let's say it's a review copy, that lives in all the catalogs that the title is in. So by managing it yourself, whatever you put on there and add to one of your titles, it will then appear in every other catalog that title lives in. So wanted to make sure that makes a lot of sense. Let's see. Oh, another thing, just as Allison mentioned, we're here to help you, and we're here with the training. And she gave you that little image of our review copy landing page where you can kind of work at your own pace and click the buttons and read the documents or watch a little video. And we try to make it as easy and user-friendly throughout. We also have created checklists for review copies and for catalog administration, a checklist that kind of says, have you done this? Have you tried this? Because Allison and I also hear again and again from small publishers, yeah, I posted my review copy or I posted my catalog and I don't think anybody's looking at it. So we kind of help you with that too. We don't leave you hanging. We try to give you every strategy that there is. We don't hold them back. We don't keep secrets. But we want to see you be as successful as possible. Ingram has its very own information web page within our website. So if you just, and by the way, this is a recorded video that we're sharing this training today, this webinar. So you'll get a copy of this and including this little URL, but you can go right to the Ingram special page and see how to market and sell your titles to book professionals and click these little links to get more information. This is the 2-page info sheets that are part of that web page where you can kind of take a more careful look at some of these bullet points and some of these things that you can do with each of the subscriptions or with just the promotions without a subscription. The Ingram pricing sheet includes discounts. So just by being an Ingram client, your independent publisher listing is only $1,000 for an annual subscription. And then we have those title promotions that don't need a subscription and the review copies, as Allison talked about. The review copies is a 20% discounts, and there are some numbers there for you to mull over. Also, just by having attended this webinar today, we're happy to offer you a $50 off promo code. And you can apply that promotion code to a featured title, to a newsletter banner, or to one of the monthly newsletter banners that's for that special, unique audience. So all you have to do is let us know that you want one of those $50 promo codes and we'll give it to you. So that's the end of this formal part, but I'm going to go ahead and open up the questions. And we have the sales email there that will go to our sales team, which is probably going to be Allison opening it. And also just our individual emails. You're welcome to get in touch with us anytime. Let me see if I can, yeah, here we go. I was able to open up these questions. I'm just gonna see, okay, yeah. You can't see the questions, but I'll go ahead and kind of read them out loud and answer them for the people who are interested. Oh, so somebody knows we're above Arbor Brewing Company. Yeah, if you like Ann Arbor, we're right downtown. And we had several questions about the $1,000 if it's for the whole year and a one-time charge. It's for the year. It's not a one-time charge. It does need to be paid every year as a subscription. Oh, and this is a great question. What's the criteria for getting accepted as a reader or reviewer on Edelweiss? And you guys want to see legitimate reviewers. And that is a very good question. We get that one a lot. And actually, Allison and I tried not to go too far down into the weeds with you with this presentation because it's easy to kind of lose focus and forget what it is that we want to cover. But there are in our training pages, we show you exactly how you can identify people who are just bloggers versus people who are members of ALA or ABA or a regional organization. So there are definitely ways. And if you have an Edelweiss account yourself, you've probably written in your profile box who you are and what you do. And reviewers are especially good reviewers, are in the habit of being very detailed about who they are. And then if they're members of these communities, they have the little icons attached to their names to prove it. And then they also usually are very good about saying why they want this particular title, that they are considering it for hand sales, or they are a children's librarian, something like that. So they're good about letting you know.
To add to that as well, just like Darcy brought up earlier, we created a checklist that kind of goes over best practices for review copies. In that checklist, and I share the checklist constantly with anyone who will take the checklist from me, but on the checklist, it kind of goes through all the best practices, and it really helps. There's a part that details how to distribute our reviewers from serious reviewers and how to look at profiles and kind of make sure that that's who you want to approve a request for. And it really gives a nice detailed description of that as well.
Awesome. And then another question about the academic market and how many academics, and are we marketing directly to academics? So the answer to that is we work more and more with the university presses. So I'll give you an example with the Chicago Distribution Center, for example, handles a lot of academic presses, and a lot of them will appear in the University of Chicago catalogs. More and more of those presses, for an example, because that's that's a distributor too. So it's a similar parallel to Ingram. More and more of those university clients are creating their own university page. So you can check it out. If you go to the publisher menu and you just start typing in university or look in the list, you'll see quite a number who are there. And we do have more and more people using the review copy module as exam copies. In terms of numbers, I don't have that off the top of my head, but it might have been in that first
I
slide.
believe, yeah, I believe it's around 9,000
That's what
for
I thought.
academic, but I think it's actually quite a bit more than that because you'd have to be, unless they're going through the steps to distinguish a user as an academic, you may not see it right away. And that's something I talk a lot with publishers about as well. I think that number is actually quite a bit more than what it says there because we can only pull what you choose to show yourself as when you create your user profile. So if you didn't identify as an academic in that, and I believe there's a couple different criterias to be actually under the academic market, but I think the number is actually quite a bit bigger than that overall, especially like Darcy had said with all the universities. And I noticed too a lot more of the university bookstores and things joining as well. Yeah.
Exactly. That's so true. Um, yeah. And then, Andy, you had written a message to about the fact that you subscribed before you became an Ingram client. We'll talk to you after and just be able to answer that question after the webinar. And then featured titles, generally pre-pub books. I'm just going to read this question out loud. Are featured titles generally pre-pub books when we are first making a galley PDF available? Oh, okay. So this person was just a little bit asking about featured titles. Should they be a pre-publication book? So one of the things that Allison and I do say is that it is a good idea if you know that you have a pre-pub book that you want to generate buzz for, and you know you're going to make it a review copy, and you know you want to try the featured title promo. If you do put those things together, it is a really good bang for the buck, and it can really increase visibility in that first flush of business of putting a title out there. But you can make a review copy for any title. It doesn't have to be a pre-publication title. Most publishers do use pre-publication titles, but not all. If there's a backlist title and you think it wasn't given a fair shot, you can always add one of those and even feature them. And again, the featured titles, they don't have to be pre-pub, but they certainly can be, and we find most people have the most success with them when it's a book that people are trying to get some traction on before it's really available. And we had some people asking for the promo code, no problem. Yeah, okay, there's another great question about, are there fees when someone accesses a digital review copy? And the answer is no. All you have to do to have an Edelweiss account is create one. It's totally free. So a lot of librarians and bookstore retailers, they'll just have that free account. The only time librarians and retailers pay us a fee is when they subscribe to analytics.
To add to that too, there are no additional download fees for you if somebody chooses to access your title, and you would only always pay that initial upload fee. There's no more fees involved if somebody's downloading a title. There can be just as many as possible. You just pay for that initial download or upload, sorry.
Great. And then there's a really good question. You guys are asking great questions. So is there a cap on when review quotes stop being useful? One of the things that I actually do typically say to people who are using the IPL is that, yeah, sometimes those quotes can get old. And especially if that's one of the that's one of the beautiful reasons to have an IPL. You get to control what quotes are being used for advertising. So your pre-pub quotes, you want them and you want them on your title. But after the book's been out and some other readers, maybe there's some other good quotes coming in, to refresh that is brilliant, or even just to change and swap up the order of how they're listed with the title's metadata. So that's a terrific question. And the fresher that you can keep your titles, the better. And even things like those links that we were talking about to an author website or to an interview. And if you put it into the title in Edelweiss and then you share that title on social media, it takes the viewer right back to the page where to the title listing, so they see that fresh information. So not to keep promising this checklist, but we are going to keep promising the checklist. We show you exactly how to do that too, how to share titles on social media in a really clean way. And if you hashtag us Vice Squad in any Twitter posting, we will retweet you. But you can't put NetGalley in there. You just have to say Vice Squad. And that is WEISS underscore squad. You can follow us on Vice Squad too. And then somebody asked about the analytics subscription, and there is analytics for publishers, for retailers, and for librarians. And we do have information on that. And I would be happy to share that with you. This is from Megan. And usually for small distributed clients, I'll give you just a little bit of a sneak peek. We have a 360 module that we're also bringing out in the fall, and Edelweiss 360 is a look at how your titles are doing in Edelweiss, and also who precisely has been taking a look at them. So we basically are answering the question that we often have gotten over the years: who's looking at my catalog? Who's looking at my title? So both analytics and 360 address those questions. I don't want to go too far down that path of describing that, but we do have some information that we'll happily share with you, and some really short videos that kind of introduce the concepts of 360 and analytics from the publisher perspective. As a distributed client, it's a little bit tricky, and we try not to oversell 360 and analytics because of the fact that you're not going to have the same kind of numbers as a bigger publisher. But Ingram can also tell you they have that data. They have 360 and analytics both right now, and can also maybe answer some questions about how your titles are faring. So it looks like that was the bulk of the questions. If anybody wants to type in any more kind of last minute ones. Oh, Nicole asked about the cost for analytics in 360. So we're actually promoting it as a package, and there will be an element of 360 that's free, that pretty much tells you how many clicks and how many people have viewed your catalog or your titles. Then there's going to be a premium package, which allows you to see the actual people and even target or go or do a little bit of prospecting for potential readers and customers. That will be a little bit of a premium cost, but it's 25% of your subscription for one of the features, or 35% of your subscription for both. So definitely, yeah, you can talk to us some more about that. Thank you so much. This has been, you guys hung in there. Not too many people left the webinar. So it's been great to cover this all with you. And we hope we've given you an idea of how to leverage your titles for sales and marketing.
Yep.
And yeah, we're here to help if you need us. Don't forget our emails, or we'll also do a little follow-up, send something to you with this recorded video as well, so you can revisit it if you need. All right.
Yep. Thank you for giving me and Darcy a chance to talk about something we talk about constantly. So yeah, thanks so much. And then any questions, yes, feel free to email us.
All right. Bye,
All
everybody.
right, thanks.